Hi, Carl here with Sustainability Theory News. We're here in the potato patch today. I had 8 rows of potatoes planted here, and the way I also did some Ruth Stout potato planting. Potatoes are a great crop for survival purposes. They got lots of calories and starches. They don't have proteins. I also have some amaranth growing. You can kind of see that tall plant there. That has proteins in it. In fact, it's got a complete amino acid profile. Which means it's got all the proteins you need to sustain living. But potatoes are great, lots of calories, and you need caloric energy in every situation. Well, maybe not good for the glycemic index, blood sugar levels and whatnot. But heck, there's some good potatoes out there and they taste real good as well. Root crops in general, some of the best survival foods because of the calories that they possess, and also they are less susceptible to deer damage, especially potatoes and garlics. Onions as well. They don't like the scent of the garlics and onions. With the potatoes, digging them is always a pain. That's why the Ruth Stout method is very good. So what you would do with Ruth Stout is you got some cleared land. I tilled this land right here, and then I put this mulch, which is predominantly goldenrod, which takes a long time to break down, and covered it. So I just placed potatoes right here on the surface and then covered it with as thick a mulch as I can. Now I've done this before where I would put the mulch down in the fall and then let it kill the grasses naturally. And the potatoes don't go deep into the soil at all. They just stay right on the top and then grow into the mulch. But when I tilled the soil and then put it on, I actually have potatoes that grew into the soil. Typically, where you plant the seed potato, potatoes won't go any deeper than that. But you can see here the rain has uncovered a couple of potatoes. You can see here it's also starting to green, so not great for eating. They say it's poisonous, but you could still save these little Yukon Golds for seed potato next season. With digging trenches, I seem to get a little better results in terms of yield. So what I did is I bought this middle buster for the tractor. As you can see, it's basically like a plow, but it's winged on both sides. I used it to dig trenches, and that's what I planted the potatoes in. I'll put some fertilizer in there as well. And it works really well. And now I'm going to use the same tool to dig them up. And then just a matter of bending down and picking them up, which isn't the funnest thing in the world to do. But still, it gets pretty dang good results, and it's a lot better than digging by hand. So some tips when using a middle buster, or really any plow: make sure your tractor's in low gear so it can pull easily enough. And it helps if the rows are as straight as possible. Now these rows ended up being straight, but the first rows I dug, not very straight. You can kind of see, I mowed these already, and you can kind of see the dirt patches where the potato plants grew up really well. So you want to follow that row really well, and pretty much every tractor out there has a hood ornament like this. And the hood ornament in every tractor is designed to let you know where the center line is on the tractor. So basically you just want to match up that hood ornament to the row that you're trying to plow. And hey, let's see how it does. Plow up some potatoes and see how many we got. Now I forgot which potatoes in which row. I know all the varieties I planted, and they're all distinctly different in terms of their skin color and the color on the inside of the potato. So I can look at my notes and figure out which ones they are, or usually tell just by looking at them. So let's set up this camera and plow this row and see what we find. Well, might as well take the camera with me. All right. Low gear. Oh. If it doesn't go into gear, sometimes you gotta rock it forward a little bit. Give it some juice. All right, straighten it out. plow down. All right. Yeah, looks like a red skin potato there, popping out. I'm pushing the plow down a little bit more, make sure it gets deep enough. Trying to keep her straight. Got some good ones. Yeah, that's how that's good. Switched varieties. Those are blackberry varieties, I do believe, that popped up. When you stop a tractor, it's always good to let the loader down, let all your implements down. You don't want to keep pressure on the hydraulics. Sometimes this plow can get potatoes stuck behind here, but didn't get any right now. So what I typically do, I still use my good old trusty potato fork. And the reason is I want to scrape the edges of the wall that I just created and help put the dirt back into the trench. Now we got these blue, really dark skin varieties. I believe that's called blackberry. It's a pretty good yielder too. Really good yielder. Well, the redskins seem to yield as well. The Yukon Golds and the russets didn't seem to do good this year or last year. But they did all right. For every pound planted, I probably got about 3 to 5 pounds yielded. But these blackberries, for every pound planted, I get like 8, 9 pounds. Redskins are about 7, 8 pounds. And, you know, it's pretty dang good. Well, anyway, I got to bend down, pick all these up. And I'll show you. Basically, one thing I do, take the potato fork and scrape it after I pick up the ones in the middle. Scrape it gently. You don't want to scratch the potatoes. And then when I want to get the dirt back in the hole, I'll do the same. Just gently push, and you can see some potatoes will fall down into the trench and then pick them up. It's a bit of a laborious process, but Middle Buster was like $200 compared to a potato picker, which is $2,000. You know, I don't have the commercial farming operation to justify that kind of expense, nor do I have the cash. But hey, leave in comments below. Maybe you got some tips on how to pick these potatoes more effectively. It seems like the Middle Buster is the winner. Now you can keep potatoes in the ground, well, really all winter, but don't want to do it that long, especially if you got a lot of fall rains it can rot them pretty easily. I got a nice sandy soil, drains pretty dang well. Planting this spring was real wet, and some of the soil was just not great. Had a lot of clumps in it, especially in this low-lying area that we're sitting right here. You can see, did damage one of them here. Actually, looks like the tire ran this over. This is probably left over from when I dug this row next to it, which was the same variety. I forgot to mention that I also use the potato fork first before I scrape the edges of the trench. I use it to scrape the middle, because occasionally some dirt will pass back in, and you can see a little guy right here. Put in there. It's hard to do one-handed. Oh, I covered one up there. And also gives some room in the middle trench. Put the dirt back there. Then I just scrape this edge. Scrape this edge. Looking for that, and then do a little bit of dirt at a time. You can see a potato fell there. Try not to cover up the ones that I uncover, just destroying my work. And I even collect these little potatoes. They'll fall out of my crate sometimes, but you can use them as seeds if they'll survive until the following spring. Sometimes they'll just dry out completely. Storing them for seed, there's a few ways you can do it. Some people like to just put them in a bucket with layers of sand or straw. Keep it in a nice, cool, dry place. You don't want them to freeze. That's the key. I keep them in my basement in these crates. Now, last year, I stored them with onions. That's a no-no. Don't store them with onions or garlic, because they off-gas. I forgot, I don't think it's ethylene, but it's a different gas that encourages the sprouting. So if you have a potato, or even sweet potato, that you want to start sprouting early, it's not sprouting, put it in the vicinity of some garlic or some onions. And boy, oh boy, they'll start sprouting pretty dang quickly. Alright, well that's it for now. Alright, here we are 2 hours later. Got the potatoes picked. Pretty good yield again. These blackberries and the red skin potatoes yield very well. I got two different varieties of red skin. I believe these are the Pontiac Reds, and these, I think they call them raspberries. Or it might be one that's a series of numbers and whatnot. I have to take a look at my notes. But hey, great, this row. A lot of the other ones, I'd only get one of these baskets per row, and I got two. A couple of them started to sprout already, so I got to eat those ones first. If the skin starts to turn green or discolor, usually you want to avoid those. But hey, it's a pretty good haul. I got 3 more rows to pick before winter comes, and got to store them all. But hey, that's a good problem to have. If you got any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. You guys stay safe. Have a great day.